In the headlines, DAIC seeks to build capacity to mitigate disaster impact on the business sector. The CBI program singled out as government's most resilient revenue generator. And warnings to farmers and homeowners as Dominica records over 200 bushfires so far this year. I'm Andrea Louis with the Channel 5 News. Back with the details after this.
Here are some tips to reduce mosquito presence in and around your home. Keep water storage containers properly covered. Remove containers that can collect water from your surroundings. Keep garbage bins tightly covered. Pick up your litter and remove all tires from your yard. Keep gutters free of leaves and twigs to prevent stagnant water. Prevent Zika, dengue, and chikungunya. Fight the bite. This is a public service announcement from the Dominica Red Cross.
This message is supported by Flow.
Thank you for staying with us. First up, the Dominica Association of Industry and Commerce, DAIC, is taking steps to build Dominica's capacity in disaster risk reduction within the business sector. This follows a successful training of trainers workshop in Martinique last month, organized by a number of overseas-based partners.
Last month, we were trained by trainers from the United Nations Office of Disaster Risk Reduction and Unite Caribbean, which is a private sector alliance, or it's a network that seeks to achieve resilience among our Creole-speaking countries. So Dominica, St. Lucia, Haiti, and Martinique came together for this thematic working session so that we can bring this value to you today. Over the past years, and primarily since Hurricane Maria, we've paid special attention to disaster risk reduction. We know all our businesses faced challenges in the recent times.
Fabian was speaking at the opening of the disaster risk reduction training, which will focus on mapping and assessing businesses' disaster and climate risk and developing a risk reduction strategy and continuity plan.
DIC looks at focusing on raising awareness, also sharing knowledge and ensuring that our private sector can implement measurable actions so that we can reduce our disaster risk, but also in being part of the global objectives, which is the Sendai framework. It aims to reduce our losses. It aims to reduce the number of persons who are affected. It also aims to increase the number of early warning systems we have around the world. And it also aims at increasing the disaster risk reduction plans that we have nationally. And as part of our national plan, we are working together, we are seeking to enhance our partnership with the public sector so that the private sector and public sector can work together to benefit Dominica.
Executive Vice President of the Dominica Hotel and Tourism Association, which is also a partner in this project, says developing a business continuity plan will reduce the impact of disasters on the country's economy.
There is a domino effect that is there when we're talking about disasters and businesses having to close because of these disasters. It's not just these businesses, the people are leaving, other businesses are closing, the livelihood of many of our people in Dominica are severely affected and changed based on how quickly our private sector can bounce back. I know we've had several challenges after Hurricane Maria. In this working session, we'll be able to identify some of these risks, identify some of these challenges, and be able to make strategic, meaningful actions or planned actions to accommodate any risk, really, that is faced by your company.
The Dominica Youth Business Trust, DYBT, is also collaborating with the DAIC and DHTA on this two-day workshop. Speaking of resilience, local businessman Parry Bellot believes government's Citizenship by Investment Program, or CBIP, has proven to be Dominica's saving grace. Julian Morris reports.
Speaking in the context of Dominica's uniqueness in terms of challenges to its development, Bellot says of all Dominica's sources of income, the CBI remains the only one that's proven to be truly resilient. Based on the last national budget, non-tax revenue for 2018-2019 is estimated at $428.8 million, and this comes primarily from the Citizenship by Investment program. The CBI program is expected to bring in $406.6 million this financial year.
When you have a hurricane, tourism, hotels are mashed up. Manufacturing, all this shit not mashed up.
Everything.
Agriculture. But people outside wanting passports, they still want their passports. The only thing, it doesn't provide all the employment that these other things would. So you have to build those, and that's why I believe Mr. Skerritt has given very low interest money to the aid bank to help in hotel construction, small business kind of business. So he's done that part.
The private sector has not been able to take full advantage of government's post-Maria loan facility at the aid bank. Accessing those funds proved to be a challenge for some private sector stakeholders as they were unable to utilize the funds for refinancing.
That is an area where I would disagree a little bit with the government. What is true, normally, when you get new loan programs, it does not include refinancing. But the hotels in Dominica have had a special problem. Over the years, they have accumulated a lot of debt because government was failing to market Dominica as they should. They didn't have money to do it. Now you see, in Antigua or St. Kitts, when you have those big hotels like Hilton and Marriott and so on, when they're marketing Marriott Hotel, and they have resources to market it all over the world, Marriott Hotel in St. Kitts, you're still promoting a destination because you got to mention the Marriott Hotel in St. Kitts, you know. And even if people are initially coming to stay in the Marriott for conferences and so on, they may like Dominica, as I'm sure they would have said, you know, I want to come back to Dominica, maybe this time with all my family. Can't maybe stay at those big expensive hotels, but maybe I can stay at, you know, at Evergreen or at the Anchorage if they were still existing and so on. So it opens up the door for the other smaller hotels.
In other top stories, the Dominica Fire and Ambulance Service has responded to over 250 fires so far this year. Here again is Julian Morris.
Dominica is currently in the dry season, which is an ideal time for bushfires. Coupled with the dry season is the announcement by the Meteorological Office that the country's west coast has been put under drought warning until July month-end. These dry conditions can trigger the start and spread of bushfires, especially on the west coast. Public Relations Officer in the Fire Department, Wayne Leighton, has some advice for individuals who plan to burn for agricultural or other purposes.
We have some tips that we normally share with persons when they're burning. One, avoid the slash and burn. Instead, burn in heaps. Burn in a controlled environment, which means the small heaps, you burn it. When it's completed, you add more and continue this way until everything is burned. We also ask persons that whenever they set any portion of land, any grass ablaze, any heap, that you do not leave it unattended. So you have to monitor it at all times. And when we are going to sleep, make sure that it is totally out before we go to sleep. Even in our yard, when we're doing cleaning, we do that, make sure that it is out before we go to sleep. Ensure that you have water or some other extinguishing media available to control that. And we always ask persons, do not burn anything when there's wind.
The month of March was the most active for the fire department in terms of bushfires. A total of 106 calls were responded to. Of that 106, 58 were attended to by the Roseau branch, 19 by the St. Joseph Fire Department, 19 in the Portsmouth area, 8 in Melville Hall, and 2 bushfires in the Grand Bay area. Leighton says vegetation along the west coast makes it more susceptible to bushfires.
On the eastern coast, we have more of the montane forest, and the central, so this would involve big trees. But on the west coast, we have a lot of grass, shrubs, and lemongrass is one of the, as we would say, the bad boy of it all. And if we drive along the west coast, we'll find that a lot of lemongrass is present. So we have some hot spots like the St. Joseph area, we have the Kenfield East area, and other areas around which have a lot of this type of vegetation, and they tend to be involved in that.
The fire department is also giving specific advice to homeowners on how to protect their property from bushfires, among them the creation of a buffer zone between vegetation and the house.
For those of us who could create trench with water, do that, so we can protect our holdings, our residents, and other properties that we have. We are asking persons also that whenever you start that fire, you have to keep good eyes on it, and also inform your neighbors. So if you're going to clean, inform your neighbors. We are going to clean, we are going to be doing some burning, so please, if you have anything to burn, you could bring it also. And so in a neighborhood, we could burn in one thing. An advice we give persons when they're burning in neighborhoods, which we say it should be minimal. We don't like persons, but this is Dominica, and persons still do it. So get a drum, a metal drum, you put the garbage inside of that drum, and you cover it. It burns.
Of the 263 bushfires for the year, Grand Bay Fire Department has responded to 3, Melville Hall responded to 11, Portsmouth 52, St. Joseph 55, and the Roseau Department fought 142 bushfires.
You are watching the Channel 5 News. Stay tuned for more after the break.
TB estene et ben tout c'est moun qui en bonne santé oli ouin ka respirer c'est vermine là moun qui pa ni bon tempérament kon sa ki ni maladie HIV alcool ka fumer ti mamay et grand moun bien sensible pour ces maladies ça là moun qui ka tousser ni pour prendre précaution les yo en parmi moun en place publique couvert bouche ou le ka estene et tousser visiter docteur et ben place santé fini tout traitement yo ba ou sa joine guérison et puis maladie TB en responsabilité ou aider du bout si mais maladie TB et HIV protéger corps et les autres.
Welcome back. Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Commerce, Enterprise and Small Business Development has encouraged the private sector to develop strong business continuity plans ahead of the 2019 hurricane season. Here again is Julian Morris.
Esther Thomas was speaking at the opening ceremony of a 2-day disaster risk reduction training on Wednesday. Thomas advised the private sector representatives to ensure they develop robust business continuity plans in order to bounce back better and stronger should their institutions be affected by a natural disaster.
And as you plan, these are some of the things that you have considered. Your human resource in your business. Did we make provision for them if they are caught by the storm or the hurricane and they can't go home? What provision do I make for them at the business if they have to overnight at the business? That was not thought of, but that is a lesson we have to consider. The issue of our storage. Did we make provision to ensure that our files and documentation, when the disasters are coming, we can quickly put them away so that they will not be destroyed? And then, of course, information communication technology is an area that can come in very handy for us in terms of ensuring we have our documents in the clouds.
Thomas told the private sector that being educated on the country's building codes is one of the more important lessons learned from Hurricane Maria.
We recognize that the building sector, they shortchanged some of us, because when we reviewed some of the standards that were set and which are now being implemented, then we can say thank God for Maria, because people are now rebuilding back very within best practice standards. They are rebuilding back within a mode to ensure that a Category 5 hurricane would not be disastrous to them. And so that is one of the lessons we can take out of Maria, that even us as laymen and laywomen, we understand when a builder is building for us, we ask some very pertinent questions.
The Permanent Secretary also urged the business community to install checkpoints within their continuity plans to gauge their success in mitigating against risks posed by natural disasters.
The whole outcome should be, let us ensure we have some clear course of action that businesses can implement, and they can have success indicators that says, this is our action post-Maria that will enable us to reduce the risk of a disaster, and these are the success indicators we are going for. Our goal should be from vision to results. And how do we achieve vision to results? We must have clear objectives, we must have clear action, and we must have clear success indicators.
Thomas warned the private sector to ensure all employees within the company know their role in the business continuity plan so that the execution of the plan is successful.
Prime Minister Skerritt has addressed what could be characterized as indifference on the part of some voters who may be thinking of sitting on the fence for the 2020 general elections. Prime Minister Skerritt told the party supporters at the launching of Octavia Alfred in Castle Bruce on the weekend there was too much at stake to entertain the thought of not voting in the 2020 general elections.
What would become of the many ongoing projects Dominica currently has with the People's Republic of China? You cannot tell me, ladies and gentlemen, you will not vote. You cannot tell me you will not vote. And you have not heard the foreign policy of Lennox Linton and the UWP. What would become of relations with all our current allies who have been there by our side through thick and thin for these last 20 years? Remember, Lennox Linton cursed and ridiculed every single one of Dominica's friends. He accused each of improper motives. Those countries and leaders all have long memories. Do you think it would not matter to them who wins an election in Dominica? Lennox Linton has criticized the money we spend on education. He tubes every time we speak of securing new scholarships for our young people. Yet, you are telling me you will not vote to secure those very scholarships for the young people of Dominica and for your children?
Mr. Skerritt told party supporters there are a number of DLP programs which would come to an end under a UWP administration. He says staying away from the polling booth this election is not an option.
Those of you who are walking around saying you will not vote, I want you to stop for a moment and think carefully. I want you to stop and think very carefully about what you say. This is your country, ladies and gentlemen. You have to live here. Your children have to live here. Your parents and grandparents have to live in this country. Stop being so selfish and simplistic. You are playing with the lives of innocent people. Don't come tell me you love your granny, but you will not vote. Under Lennox Linton and the UWP, your granny may not have a first-rate hospital to go to if she falls ill. She may not get the non-contributory pension we have given to every single senior citizen in this country. The Yes We Care program, which provides care for hundreds of seniors, will come to an end. So don't come telling me you're not voting.
Businessman Parry Bellot has also weighed in on the issue.
But they have known what Skerritt has done. They support him to a degree, but they say, you know what? And maybe I just stay away this year. And Skerritt has been getting that feedback. So tell them, no, they shouldn't stay away. Because I know a lot of people who have no confidence in the opposition and will definitely not vote for them. But they may be figuring by 3 years, 4 years of, of the current government. Maybe, they're not sure whether we should still go that route again. Not sure. They don't want to go to the opposition, but don't want to go necessarily that way. So they may abstain. But if a lot of them abstain, that would obviously mess up the vote category of the Labour Party in the whole election thing. So I think Mr. Skerritt is right to point out that they should still most certainly vote and not just decide to stay away.
And leader of the parliamentary opposition, Honourable Lennox Linton, says his 2020 team is the one capable of bringing the change which Dominica needs. The opposition leader made the case at the national presentation of party candidates on Sunday.
I am proud to say tonight that the education, the training, the work experience and life skills of the individual members of this team presented to you tonight make us a caring, innovative, and analytical team with a strong capability to plan, to implement, to communicate, to negotiate, and to succeed as a team. Our team includes educators. Our team includes engineers, environmentalists, project managers, medical doctors, healthcare administrators, lawyers, social service providers, information communication technology specialists, communicators, agriculture specialists, community development specialists, sports administrators, youth development specialists, human resource management practitioners, logisticians, supply chain managers. We span the entire gamut of functions needed for the rebuilding, for the rescuing, and the long-term development of your beautiful country.
Mr. Linton says his team's focus will be on good, transparent, and accountable governance.
Our team focus will be on education, healthcare, sports and entertainment opportunities, affordable land, and housing for all. Our team will be focused on continuous improvement in the livelihood and standard of living of all citizens, on civility, responsible global citizenship, and respect for diversity and unity of purpose in all of our citizens. Our team focus will be on the best water quality, the highest levels of food security, clean air, green businesses, green jobs, climate resilience, minimizing our carbon footprint, and reducing consumption and eliminating waste. Our team will be focused on excellence in all of our endeavors at home and abroad.
I've worked in the service industry for 9 years, and I love it because of the people I get to meet every day. And that's one of the reasons I went back to college, to be better able to serve the tourists when they come to our destination and to be able to learn more about Dominica. I love learning more about Dominica because the more I learn, the more I can share. And I just want to share Dominica with everyone. I'm from Munjan, which is in the southeast of Dominica, and have lived overseas for 24 years. Living overseas has made me appreciate Dominica and all it has to offer, like taking a walk in the forest, going to the botanical garden, or even drinking fresh Sus water. I never thought I could miss green so much. Even as a student, I'm still directly linked to the tourism industry, from something as simple as giving directions to tourists, or even more involved, like an internship at a hotel, or a cleanup campaign with DHTA. As a tourism student, I have made the decision to take my place in this tourism industry. My name is Lucina Nicholas, and tourism is my business.
Here are some tips to reduce mosquito presence in and around your home. Keep water storage containers properly covered. Remove containers that can collect water from your surroundings. Keep garbage bins tightly covered. Pick up your litter and remove all tires from your yard. Keep gutters free of leaves and twigs to prevent stagnant water. Prevent Zika, dengue, and chikungunya. Fight the bite. This is a public service announcement from the Dominica Red Cross.
This message is supported by Flow.
To end the news, the headlines again. The DAIC seeks to build capacity to mitigate disaster impact on the business sector. The CBI program singled out as government's most resilient revenue generator. And warnings to farmers and homeowners as Dominica records over 200 bushfires so far this year. Feel free to contact us at news@marpin2k4.com. You can also access our past newscasts on our YouTube channel. On behalf of the entire production team, I am Andrea Louis, and to all of our viewers around the world, thank you so much for watching. Join us tomorrow.